Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have endless energy, achieve incredible success, and stay focused on their goals, while others hit the snooze button every morning and spend the rest of the day feeling behind? What if the biggest difference isn't talent, luck, or intelligence? What if it's simply how they start their day? Think about your own mornings. Maybe your alarm goes off, you hit snooze once, then twice, maybe even 3 times. Suddenly you're rushing to get ready. Breakfast becomes optional. Your mind feels scattered before your day has even begun. It feels normal because millions of people live this way, but according to the Miracle Morning, that daily routine could be quietly stealing your potential. The truth is that success doesn't usually begin with one giant decision. It begins with small habits repeated every single day. And one of the most powerful habits you can build happens before most people are even awake. Imagine waking up feeling excited instead of exhausted. Imagine having time to think clearly, exercise, read, learn something new, and prepare for your biggest goals before your workday even starts. That may sound impossible if you're busy, but that's exactly what today's book is about. By the end of this video, you'll discover a simple morning system that has helped millions of people become healthier, happier, more productive, and more confident. The best part is that you don't need expensive equipment, special skills, or extra talent. You simply need the willingness to change the first hour of your day. So stay with me until the end, because one simple idea from this book might completely change how you wake up tomorrow morning. Now let's begin. The book The Miracle Morning was written by Hal Elrod, an entrepreneur, speaker, and success coach whose own life proves that dramatic change is possible. When Hal was just 20 years old, he survived a terrible car accident caused by a drunk driver. His heart stopped for several minutes. Doctors believed he would never walk again. But against overwhelming odds, he recovered. Years later, during the financial crisis, he faced another major challenge. His business struggled, he lost income, and his future looked uncertain. Instead of giving up, he asked himself a powerful question. What is one thing I can change that could improve every area of my life? His answer surprised him. He decided to transform his mornings. As he built a consistent morning routine, he noticed something remarkable. His energy improved. His focus became sharper. His confidence grew. His productivity increased. Most importantly, he became the kind of person who could achieve bigger goals. That experience became the foundation of The Miracle Morning, a book that has inspired readers around the world to rethink how they start each day. The main message is simple. Your morning doesn't just begin your day. It shapes your future. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because their daily habits never allow them to become the person they want to be. Every morning gives you a fresh opportunity to invest in yourself before the world starts demanding your attention. Think about 2 different people. The first person wakes up late, immediately checks social media, rushes through breakfast, skips exercise, feels stressed during work, and promises to do better tomorrow. The second person wakes up 1 hour earlier. They spend time thinking, exercising, learning, and planning before work begins. At first, their days may not look very different. But after 6 months, after 1 year, after 5 years, the gap between those 2 lives becomes enormous. This is the power of small daily actions. Most people underestimate what they can achieve in a year because they focus on giant changes instead of tiny improvements repeated consistently. That's why this book isn't really about waking up early. It's about becoming a better version of yourself before the rest of the world wakes up. And once you understand this idea, the next question naturally becomes, what exactly should you do during those early morning hours? That's where the book introduces a simple system that has changed millions of lives. It's called the Life Savers method. And in the next part, we'll break down the first 2 steps that can completely change the way you think and start every single day. Before we jump into the Life Savers system, let's answer one important question. Why do so many people struggle to wake up early? Most people think it's because they're lazy, but according to the ideas behind The Miracle Morning, that's usually not the real reason. The real problem is that people don't have a reason exciting enough to get out of bed. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that when you're about to go on vacation, start a new job, or attend an exciting event, you wake up before your alarm? You don't need extra motivation, your purpose wakes you up. Now compare that to a normal weekday. If your morning feels rushed, stressful, and repetitive, your brain naturally wants to stay asleep. That's why changing your morning starts with changing your mindset. Instead of thinking, I have to wake up early, begin thinking, I get to invest in myself before anyone else needs me. That simple shift changes everything. Now let's explore the first part of the Life SAVRS system. The first letter is S, silence. Most people wake up and immediately fill their minds with noise, notifications, emails, news. Social media, their brain never gets a chance to slow down. Silence is different. It's about giving yourself a few peaceful minutes before the world begins making demands on your attention. You don't have to meditate for an hour. Even 5 minutes of deep breathing, quiet reflection, or prayer can help calm your mind. Imagine your mind like a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays cloudy, but if you let it sit still, the mud settles, and everything becomes clear. That's exactly what silence does. Instead of reacting to life, you begin responding with intention. Many successful people spend part of their morning in silence because clear thinking leads to better decisions. When your mind is calm, you're less likely to overreact to problems and more likely to focus on what truly matters. The second letter is A, affirmations. At first, affirmations might sound strange. Many people think they're just positive phrases repeated without meaning. But effective affirmations are much more than that. They're reminders of who you're becoming and what you're working toward. Every day, your mind is already talking to you. Sometimes it says, I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I'm always behind. The problem is that if you repeat those thoughts often enough, your brain starts believing them. Affirmations interrupt that cycle. Instead of reinforcing fear, they reinforce purpose. For example, instead of saying, I hope I become confident someday, you might say, I am becoming more confident every day because I keep taking action even when I'm uncomfortable. Notice the difference. The second statement includes action. That's what makes affirmations powerful. They don't replace hard work, they support it. Think of affirmations like programming a GPS. Before you start driving, you need to know where you're going. Your thoughts work the same way. When you remind yourself of your goals every morning, your brain naturally begins noticing opportunities that move you closer to them. Over time, those small mental shifts influence your daily decisions. And daily decisions create long-term results. But here's something even more interesting. Silence helps you hear your thoughts. Affirmations help you direct them. Together, they create a powerful foundation for the rest of your day. So ask yourself this question. If the first words you hear every morning are your own, what story are you telling yourself? Because the quality of your life often follows the quality of your thoughts. And now that you've learned how to calm your mind and shape your mindset, the next step is learning how to see your future before it becomes reality. Now that you've learned how to calm your mind through silence and strengthen it with affirmations, it's time for 2 habits that can completely change your confidence and energy. The next letter in the SAVRS system is V, visualization. Have you ever noticed that professional athletes often close their eyes before a competition? They're not daydreaming. They're mentally practicing success. Before they ever step onto the field, they picture themselves making the perfect move, staying calm under pressure, and achieving their goal. Why? Because your brain doesn't completely separate a vividly imagined experience from a real one. When you repeatedly imagine yourself succeeding, your brain becomes more familiar with that future. Suddenly, taking action doesn't feel as scary because you've already seen yourself doing it. But there's one important rule: visualization only works when it's connected to action. You can't simply sit on your couch imagining $1 million and expect your bank account to grow. Instead, picture yourself doing the work. Imagine waking up early. Imagine finishing that workout. Imagine writing another chapter of your book. Imagine confidently speaking during a meeting. Imagine making healthy food choices. See yourself becoming the kind of person who naturally does these things, because success isn't just about achieving goals. It's about becoming the person capable of achieving them. Here's a simple example. Imagine 2 people training for a marathon. The first person keeps thinking, I'll probably quit halfway. The second person imagines crossing the finish line every morning before training. Both runners still have to put in the same physical effort, but one begins every workout believing success is possible. That belief helps them stay committed when things get difficult. Visualization doesn't replace action. It prepares you for action. Now let's move to the next letter. E, exercise. This is one of the easiest habits to understand, yet one of the most ignored. Many people think they need an hour at the gym for exercise to matter. That's not true. Even 10 or 15 minutes of movement can completely change your energy. When you exercise, your heart pumps more oxygen throughout your body, your brain becomes more alert, your mood improves. Your stress begins to drop. Instead of feeling sleepy and sluggish, you feel awake and ready to think clearly. Think about how different your day feels after a short walk compared to sitting in bed scrolling through your phone. The difference is huge. Exercise isn't only about building muscles. It's about building momentum. Small wins early in the morning create confidence for the rest of the day. You tell yourself, I already kept one promise today. And once you've kept one promise, keeping the next one becomes easier. That's how discipline grows, not through giant achievements, but through small victories repeated every day. Another important lesson from the book is this: don't wait until you feel motivated. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Many people say, I'll exercise when I feel like it. But successful people understand something different. They exercise first, then motivation shows up. Think of motivation like a campfire. If you wait for the fire to appear before collecting wood, you'll stay cold forever. You have to build the fire first. Action is the spark, motivation is the result. This lesson applies to every area of life. Don't wait to feel like studying, start studying. Don't wait to feel like writing, start writing. Don't wait to feel confident, take action first, and confidence will slowly grow. The Miracle Morning teaches that your future isn't created by occasional moments of inspiration. It's created by daily habits that continue even when you don't feel like doing them. So every morning, ask yourself one simple question: what is one healthy action I can take right now that my future self will thank me for? Maybe it's stretching for 10 minutes, maybe it's going for a walk, maybe it's doing 20 push-ups. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to happen, because every small action is another vote for the person you're becoming. At this point, your morning has already become powerful. You've calmed your mind through silence. You've strengthened your mindset with affirmations. You've trained your imagination through visualization. You've energized your body through exercise, but there are still two final habits that tie everything together. In the next part, you'll discover why reading and journaling can accelerate your growth faster than almost any other daily habit, and how just a few pages each morning can change the direction of your entire life. By now, your morning has already transformed. You've learned how to quiet your mind through silence, build a stronger mindset with affirmations, picture your future through visualization, and energize your body with exercise. But Hal Elrod believes two final habits turn personal growth into lasting transformation. These habits are simple. They don't require special talent. Yet over time, they can completely change the way you think and live. The fifth letter in the SAVRS system is our reading. Think about this for a moment. If you wanted to become a better investor, who would you learn from? Someone who has never invested? Or someone who has spent decades mastering money? The answer is obvious. Books allow you to learn directly from people who have already solved the problems you're facing. Every great author spends years learning lessons, making mistakes, and finding solutions. When you read their work, you gain access to those lessons in just a few hours. That's an incredible shortcut. Imagine trying to climb a mountain without a map. You'd probably waste time, take wrong turns, and feel frustrated. Now imagine someone hands you a map created by a person who has already reached the top. Your journey becomes much easier. Books are that map. The problem is that many people stop learning after school. They assume education ends with graduation. Successful people think differently. They understand that learning never stops. Every page you read expands your knowledge. Every new idea gives you another tool for solving problems. You don't need to read 50 books a year. Even reading 10 pages every morning can create amazing results. 10 pages may not seem like much. But over a year, those pages turn into several complete books. And each book changes the way you think just a little. Those small improvements eventually create a completely different life. Remember this: leaders are readers. The more you learn, the more valuable you become. And the more value you create, the more opportunities begin to appear. Now let's move to the final letter. S. Scribing. In simple words, this means journaling. At first, many people think journaling is only for writers. But that's far from the truth. Writing helps organize your thoughts. When ideas stay inside your head, they often feel confusing. The moment you write them down, everything becomes clearer. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed. You probably had dozens of thoughts running through your mind at once. Now imagine taking 5 minutes to write them on paper. Suddenly, those thoughts become manageable. You stop reacting emotionally. You start thinking logically. That's the power of journaling. Hal Elrod suggests using your journal to write things like what you're grateful for, your biggest goals, lessons you learned yesterday, mistakes you want to avoid, your most important task for today. This simple habit helps you stay focused on progress instead of problems. Imagine looking back at your journal after 1 year. You'll see how much you've grown. You'll notice challenges you overcame, goals you achieved, fears you conquered, and dreams that once seemed impossible. Your journal becomes proof that you're moving forward. One of the biggest reasons people quit pursuing their goals is because they believe they're not making progress. But when you write regularly, you can actually see your growth. That creates confidence. And confidence creates momentum. Now think about the complete SAVERS system. Silence gives you peace. Affirmations build belief. Visualization creates direction. Exercise creates energy. Reading builds knowledge. Journaling creates clarity. Each habit is powerful on its own. But together, they create something much bigger. A daily system for becoming the best version of yourself. And here's the most encouraging part. You don't need to spend 3 hours every morning. If your schedule is busy, start with just 1 minute for each habit. 1 minute of silence. 1 minute of affirmations. 1 minute of visualization. 1 minute of movement. 1 minute of reading. 1 minute of journaling. That's only 6 minutes. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is consistency. Because small actions repeated every day always beat big actions done once in a while. But even with a great system, many people still fail. Why? Because they make a few common mistakes that slowly pull them back into old habits. Now you know the complete SAVERS system. But here's the truth. Knowing what to do is never enough. Millions of people read great books every year. They watch motivational videos. They get excited for a few days. Then life gets busy. They miss one morning. Then another. Within a week, they're back to their old routine. Why does this happen? Because most people depend on motivation. Motivation feels powerful, but it doesn't last. Some mornings you'll feel excited. Other mornings you'll feel tired, stressed, or unmotivated. If you only act when you feel motivated, your habits will never become permanent. Successful people don't wait to feel like taking action. They take action first. Then motivation follows. This is one of the biggest lessons from the miracle morning. Discipline creates freedom. At first, discipline feels difficult. Waking up earlier isn't always comfortable. Reading instead of scrolling through social media isn't always exciting. Exercising when you're tired isn't always fun. But every small act of discipline makes tomorrow a little easier. Over time, those actions become automatic. And that's when your life begins to change. Another common mistake is trying to become perfect overnight. People decide they'll wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for an hour, meditate for 30 minutes, read 50 pages, and journal every day. It sounds inspiring. But after a few days, the routine becomes overwhelming. They miss one day and convince themselves they've failed. Hal Elrod encourages a different approach. Start small. Build consistency first. Then improve gradually. If all you can manage today is 6 minutes, that's okay. If tomorrow you can do 10 minutes, even better. Progress always beats perfection. Remember, success is not built in one extraordinary morning. It's built in hundreds of ordinary mornings repeated consistently. Think about planting a tree. You don't water it once and expect it to grow overnight. You water it again and again. Some days you don't notice any change. But months later, the tree is taller, stronger, and impossible to ignore. Your habits work the same way. Every morning is another drop of water. You may not see dramatic results immediately, but your future self is growing because of the choices you're making today. Now imagine yourself 1 year from now. Which version of you would you rather become? The one who keeps pressing the snooze button, rushing through every morning, and hoping life somehow changes? Or the one who wakes up with purpose, invests in personal growth every day, and slowly builds the life they've always wanted? The decision doesn't happen next year. It happens tomorrow morning. Because every sunrise gives you a new opportunity to choose the person you're becoming. The biggest message of the miracle morning isn't simply to wake up earlier. It's to wake up intentionally. Don't let your mornings happen to you. Design them. Protect them. Use them to become stronger, wiser, healthier, and more confident. Your future is shaped by what you repeatedly do, not once in a while, but every single day. So here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, try creating your own miracle morning. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just stay consistent. Spend a few quiet moments in silence. Remind yourself of your goals with affirmations. Visualize the person you want to become. Move your body. Read a few pages of a great book. Write down your thoughts, gratitude, and goals. Then watch what happens. You may not notice a huge difference after 1 day. But after a month, after 6 months, after a year, you might look back and realize that changing your mornings changed your entire life. If you found this summary helpful and learned something valuable, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another life-changing book summary. And tell me in the comments. If you could change just one morning habit starting tomorrow, what would it be? Thanks for watching, and remember, the life you dream about doesn't begin someday. It begins with the choices you make tomorrow morning.